Welcome back to an episode where we're again somewhere in the world of darkness, and we have the vampire, the Masquerade Bloodlines, with all the patches and whatnot in here. It's amazing. Now, let's start a new game, and also we have to do some options and whatever once we begin it. But first, let's create ourselves a nice character. A new game starts with creating a new character. Would you like to, number one, answer a series of questions about the type of vampire you would like to play and allow the game to create your character? That would be quite interesting. I kind of know what clan I am going to choose. It's Malkavian, but yeah, I really want to go through the questions because that might be very interesting. Anyway, free spoilers. Replay some Bloodlines missions as a human hunter from the Society of Leopold. Spoilers. What does actually number 3 mean? Because the replay of certain Bloodlines missions as a human hunter is kind of weird, isn't it? Alrighty, so let's see. Let's go for some answers. Question and answers. Of course, we are male. Then you're in a convenience store looking through the beer freezer when all of a sudden a man walks in and pulls a gun on the cashier. Do you sneak up behind him, disarm him, and proceed to beat him senseless? Quietly make your way to the bathroom and lock yourself in. Okay, so what do we want to do? Sneak up or quietly leave? One thing is, one could say kind of, both of those options are somewhat cowardice, right? But we don't discharge them immediately. The sneaking up kind of situation seems like the best thing to do. In this case, I do not even know where the bathroom is to begin with, so yeah. Sneak up behind him, disarm him, and proceed to beat him senseless. The last part about the whole thing, this is what I have a problem with. The senseless beating, right? Like the whole beating up, sneaking up and disarming them, that's okay. Beating a little bit, but the senseless part is a bit exaggerated. That's the reason why I don't quite like that. But the other stuff, yes. Sneaking out the bathroom, not quite. So, a bouncer at the opening of an exclusive nightclub won't let you inside to party with all the beautiful people, do you? Convince him you work for that director, you know who, and you will bring him with you next time. You know, I know a guy. Hide out by the back exit, wait for someone to leave, and then slip in undetected. That sounds like an interesting one. The whole director thing is like, okay, yeah, sure, like, big guy. Anyway, bribe him. Everyone has got their prize, and it's worth it to get to know the kind of people inside. So, do we bribe the dude? Nah, we don't bribe guys. We don't need to convince them also that we know someone, because otherwise we would be there. Let's just see if we can sneak around. Same thing, sneak options twice. So, an intruder has broken into your house and has entered the room. You have no choice but to confront them. Do you overpower and wrestle them to the ground, breaking as many bones as possible, depending on who's breaking whose bones, and grab the heavy lamp next to your bed and smash their face in? Kind of same situation, you break them bones, and grab your gun and fire into them. You keep one next to the bed for this very reason. No. Firing guns, I mean, it's kind of okay in this game here, but if anything, I'm more like a melee kind of guy. So let's see. Grab a heavy lamp next to your bed. I don't like breaking things. Let's just try this move here. It's a bit weird. Let's hope that we don't end up with like Brujah or something. That would be weird. While in a club, you spot your ex-roommate who skipped out after taking your stuff and leaving you with a stack of bills. He looks dead drunk. Do you? Grab him by the head and repeatedly bash his face into the bar. Call the cops. See you in court, buddy. Okay. The problem is we only have 2 options here. Either the call the cops option, which is not really the option that I like to choose, and also grabbing their heads and bashing them in, also not really the thing that I like to use. So, there's no third option. The thing is, it always ends up violently in this case. Violence seems to be the standard thing. The question is just, what kind of violence do you like most? Okay. Repeatedly bash his face into the bar. Why would I want to do that? Call the cops. See you in court, buddy. That's weird. So, I mean, it's a stack of bills, right? While in the club, you spot your ex-roommate who skipped out after taking your stuff and leaving you with a stack of bills. Looks that drunk to you. It kind of depends. Do we already have told the cops that there's someone out there that stole our stuff? Do they even care? That's the question here. Like, it's nice that you have that, but assuming standard human nature, you don't get any help at all. In this case, it's just getting your anger out there a little bit. Oh boy. I can't choose any one of those. That's the thing. The whole sneaking stuff at the beginning, okay, that was alright. But this one? Why would I want to bash someone's face in the bar? Why am I even at the bar? Don't I have bills to pay? Maybe I'm the barkeeper. Alright. Nah. I don't... Even if they are drunk or whatever, I don't know. I'm gonna go for the option that is... Like, I definitely know I'm probably not gonna go for option number 2. So we're going for option number 1, just because of, like, exclusion. You're heading downtown to meet with some Nosferatu in the alley behind the Chinese restaurant. He has some valuable information to sell. You're not expecting any trouble, but you can never be too careful. Do you? Take no weapons that might spook your contact. Take no weapons that may spook your contact. Trusting in your supernatural strength to handle any problems. Hide a blackjack in your coat to give you a little edge. What's a blackjack? Jam a Smith & Wesson into your waistband, just to be sure. Okay. Basically any... Well, what is a blackjack? I don't know what the blackjack is, but that definitely helps a little bit. But take no weapons that might spook your contact, trusting in your supernatural strength to handle any problems. I mean, we are going for number 1. If anything, we are more a magic-y spell ability kind of guy, and not a we use any weapon. If there is a weapon option, we go for melee. If there is another way out, then we go with the other way out, kind of. The world's cruel and unforgiving place, but you've gotten by so far. Why? Someone gets in my way, I kick their ass. That's why. I live alone. I don't need others. Just me, my dog, and to hell with the rest. That is an interesting one. But we probably end up as a Nosferatu or something. You have been embraced by the Gangrel. Okay, that's weird. Sometimes called nomads, loners, and introverts, the Gangrel spurn the trappings of civilization and prefer to roam the wilds in solitude. Known for having an uncanny connection with the beast within, some learn the powers to shapeshift. Do not show helping. Okay. Your vampire attributes and abilities have now been determined and entered into its character sheet, which you will see next. After your tour of the character sheet, you may make changes to the character or simply play it as is. Okay, that's interesting. So depending on how you answered the question, points were given beforehand. It's not that you actually get a certain vampire family, whatever. Yeah, well, what is that actually? The clan. Yeah, that you choose a special clan. No, you already have these things. A little bit of melee, a little bit of firearms, but I'm gonna redo that in a moment anyway. These are your attributes and abilities, which feats are derived from. Attributes are your inherent character traits and are broken into 3 categories: physical, social, and mental. Abilities are things you learn and also are broken into 3 categories: talents, skills, and knowledges. Yeah, some things that you learn. Learn through what? Members of the animalistic Gangrel clan are close to their inner beast, and so your strongest attribute is physical, in which you have 2 points you can spend. To begin with, you also have 1 point to spend in mental and no points in social, a Gangrel's weakest attribute. As for abilities, being Gangrel gives you an advantage in their warrior skills, in which you have 3 points to spend. You have only average abilities and talents, 2 points, and are weak in knowledges. Oh. Okay, feats are the actions you perform in the game. So this is the stuff that gets higher or lower depending on how many points you have. So, actually, again, feats are derived from adding an attribute and ability. An example would be the feat of lockpicking, which is derived from the attribute of dexterity and the ability of security. Hovering your mouse pointer over the feat will highlight the attribute and ability upon which it is dependent, which is a very nice way, because let's say you want to increase hacking or something, and you do not know how hacking is connected with the rest. So you just hover over it, it gets highlighted, and then you know, I need to put some points in there. That's a very cool thing. You are a member of the Gangrel clan, closest of all vampires to their inner nature. Gangrels have a keen understanding of the beast in their souls and prefer to spend their nights in communion with the animals whom they so emulate. Their disciplines are animalism, the animal communion, fortitude, a vampiric toughness thing, and protean, the shape-shifting. So, this is your humanity. 7 is the norm, 10 is saintly, and the lower you go, the closer to the beast you become. Also, the lower your humanity, the greater your chances of frenzying. When a vampire goes into a frenzy, he loses all control and attacks any and all things around him. However, as you gain experience, you can spend experience points to increase your humanity. Also, you can lower this stuff sometimes. And also masquerade points, very important, but actually you don't need to worry about anything in here that much. It's basically just a deterrent to not be too aggressive in the game. So this is where your masquerade violations are displayed. The masquerade is a code by which many vampires unlive. Any time a vampire is seen doing a supernatural act by a mortal, it is considered a masquerade violation. You have 5 chances, and each strike will have repercussions. If you commit 5 masquerade violations, you will be dealt with harshly. This is where all information on things you are hovering over is displayed. Yeah, that's easy. And auto level buttons are there too, if you just don't care that much. It's a very interesting thing. It's a toggle that allows you to decide whether you want the computer to allocate the experience points you earn in the game among you attributes, abilities, and disciplines, or whether you wish to allocate them yourself. Interesting that the computer tells me what to do, but I'm definitely going to turn that off. The reset stats button is another toggle that allows you to clear out your point allocation so that you can start over, or return them to their last settings. The cancel button allows you to return to your last point in the game without changing your character sheet. Once you are satisfied with your character settings, click on the accept button to play the game. Righty. So let's just look at that beauty. Yeah, Gangrel. I definitely have to reset the stat points here just to get some other stuff. So we get fortitude. Interesting thing is everything just gets a little better if you do so. Yeah, then we have some bashing because we did some melee stuff. So what's bashing? Stamina, yeah, because we got ourselves into some fights there, like brawl and dodging and whatnot. If you want to survive a little bit in combat defense is the thing to go, so just do that. The melee combat is offense, ranged combat also offense, relating to like, of course, guns and whatnot, and unarmed combat if you don't have a gun in hand, a gun or even a melee weapon in hand. And then the covered stuff, or like normal things, lockpicking, sneaking, hacking, inspection, and research. Some things in here don't need to be leveled. If you're very thorough in your playstyle, you can emulate high inspection or something like that. Research, I don't know how this actually works, measures your character's ability to read books and learn new abilities. The intelligence, I don't know if that is helpful. So if we have very low amounts of either we cannot read a book at all, so we try to click on it and then it just says needs so and so many points in research, or we read it and we don't get a point, right? So it's basically a failed roll or something. I don't know how research actually plays out in this game. Anyway, Hacking is an interesting thing. Cracking computers and other electronic devices, the wits attributing contribute to the hacking feed. I mean, hacking is kind of a mini game, and if you do it right, you may not even need that many points in hacking. I think you can try like auto hack or something, or you can use your brain, and in this case we can also emulate it a little bit. Sneaking is something that is done in here, and lockpicking on the other hand, lockpicking may actually be a thing that we need a good feed for. So yeah, anyway, back to the whole clan stuff, and also history. So the history stuff changes your changes some of the way the attributes are considered. So you gain extra blood when feeding on a human of the opposite sex. Unfortunately, undeath has done little for your personality. Your subterfuge cannot be raised above 1. So getting additional blood is a very cool thing, and subterfuge above 1. So where do we have the subterfuge thing? I'm just looking at it. This one. So yeah, that one doesn't help. Measures your ability to conceal their motives, deceive others. Subterfuge is needed for the feat of seduction, which means, wait a minute, raised above 1. So it's very funny that we get extra blood if we feed from the opposite sex. It's very unfunny that the whole the whole seduction trait doesn't benefit from it at all. Oh yeah. In this case, just think of some kind of upgrade that you are okay with, or in some cases, you even start with different jumbled starting points. So, for example, this one right here, physical. Where do we have that one? So these are all the bonus points, which is very weird. Like, how many points do we even start with? I think you can reset a ton in here. That's actually very interesting. Auto spend points? Nah. What I need is like a reset for everything. But anyway. So, let's see. The clans. Of course, we got like Brujah. Brujah are passionate idealists and rebels, more likely to fight for their rights than write protest songs. In life, most Brujah sought social change, and in undeath, most clan members commonly seek the creation of a vampiric utopia. As militant radicals, they are renowned for their combat skills, but are also more likely to frenzy due to their hot-bloodedness, so to speak. They receive a +1 to their unarmed feat, but are penalized with a -2 to all frenzy checks due to their zealous nature. And then we got and also, why don't we just switch from male to female every time we do that? Because these are actually very interesting settings here. So, next one, of course, again, the Gangrel. Gangrels are wild loners that are the most in tune with a beast within, allowing them to shapeshift into more beastly forms. Nomadic in nature, Gangrel care little about vampiric politics and prefer to dwell and hunt in the outskirts of society. Because of their animalistic nature, they receive a +5 to strength, which is a lot, stamina, and wits during frenzy, so you have to get into frenzy. However, because of their inherent feral nature, Gangrels receive a -1 on all frenzy checks. So the idea is to get into frenzy, to use the inner beast, to basically play this game on auto mode all the time. And then, of course, we got ourselves the male version here. They're not crouching all the time, but this seems to be the standard thing here. Malkavians are the things I'm going to finish with. So, next one, Nosferatu. Hideous, skulking, and powerful. Even in a world of monsters, the Nosferatu stand out. The embrace twists and deforms their physical features, forcing them to seek sanctuary underground. Nosferatu are masters of shadows. Due to their curse, Nosferatu have a seduction of 0, obviously, and can never raise it higher. And they hide their existence from common humans. Having shared the darkness with vermin for so long, vampires of Clan Nosferatu are able to draw extra nourishment from rats. This is actually a very interesting bonus, because rats are all over the place, and if you need a quick feeding, then this is definitely it. And this one also comes in a female version that looks similarly interesting. So, also, the game itself is a little different, much different, when you play as Nosferatu, because you have to approach just going around in a very different way, because you just can't interact with normal people, because the Nosferatu would just give it away, and you will constantly like break the Masquerade or whatever. So never get too close to anyone. That's the idea. Always try to get through the sewers, which is difficult if you don't know where everything is. So yeah, maneuvering around town is a little bit tricky with that. The other clans are pretty much standard in the way you play it, with one exception, the Malkavian, because the Malkavian knows things that shouldn't, that they shouldn't actually know, which is very interesting. Anyway, now for the sexy one, the Toreadors. And Toreadors picture themselves as artists and visionaries, and they value the high society mentality that the Camarilla reinforces. Of all clans, the Toreador are the most connected to the mortal world through arts and entertainment. Toreador are beautiful creatures, svelte and seductive, and move almost effortlessly through the society of the living. The Toreador's empathy is both a gift and a burden. All humanity shifts are doubled. Interesting. So either it goes down hard or it goes up hard. But if you don't overdo it too much, then there's no issue there, and you are always maxed out. Interesting. So this one also comes in two different versions. This and that one. And of course we got Tremere, the blood sorcerers born from mystic rituals and diablerie. The Tremere are the least trusted of the Camarilla clans. The ritual the Tremere used to transform from living mages into undying monsters stripped them of their magic arts. To compensate, the vampires of Clan Tremere developed a thaumaturgy, the powerful discipline of blood magic. The clan guards its secrets jealously and are the only kindred to wield this powerful discipline. The pursuit of arcane knowledge comes before all else, and the reliance upon it has weakened the bloodline. Tremere can raise no physical attribute above 4 points, which, if you don't want to get into physical fights or anything, is not really an issue. You can just use guns or magic. But yeah, in the end, it just depends on how much blood you have. So that's your mana potions again. And then, of course, we have this one. So, and of course, the kings, the Ventrue. Ventrue, truly the upper echelons of society. The Ventrue are seen as the honorable and virtuous leaders of the Camarilla. They wholeheartedly support the Masquerade, influencing the mortal and undead worlds to help them maintain the Masquerade as well as garner support for themselves. Clan Ventrue is an exclusive and powerful gathering of immortals, and even the lowliest initiate of Clan Ventrue can expect special treatment in kindred society. This regal bloodline, however, gains no nourishment from the low-born and thin-blooded. Ventrue gain no blood from feeding on animals. Feeding on low-life humans, prostitutes, and the homeless can cause the Ventrue to vomit, and we don't want that. So this is actually a very interesting benefit here. So you need highborn, okay, just look at the exceptions. So no blood from animals, low-life humans, which are homeless and prostitutes. These are the exceptions and can cause Ventrue to vomit. So everyone else is free game, as long as they're what considers low life is kind of dependable, but in this case, weird. Anyway, also comes in a male version, obviously. So interesting about the whole clan and stuff is also how the abilities are going to be chosen here, because the disciplines here. These are the interesting things that depend on the clan. In this case, we have dominate, which is mind control on different levels, and you can either make them phased out a little bit or have like mass suicide happening. This is a very interesting thing, especially in combat, and this is mostly your main way you drain your blood. But because the Ventrue play this game like without using their blood too much for the disciplines, then maybe this is alright. And also there's presence. This is the whole phasing out kind of stuff, which lowers the chance of enemies to do you any harm. In this case, strength, wits, perception, all of this stuff. So makes fighting you more difficult. It's like an aura, like a debuff aura. You can consider that. So and then we have like fortitude, which is the soak feat. It's basically like a shielding. You can think of it that way. Improves your defense. So Tremere, obviously, where the Auspex. Oh, Auspex is a really cool ability. Makes you be able to look through walls. So reveals the auras of the living and undead within a short distance. The distance is also the thing. So what's the other one? Lasts 20 seconds per activation. It's like... So you have to activate it, look around, and then figure out what to do. So also, if you have that, you can basically figure out where to go, because sometimes there are people in buildings and whatnot. And you can also better sneak around if you have that ability. That's cool. So it reveals the auras of all living and undead within a modest distance. So a little further, large distance, great distance, and tremendous distance. So the idea is, oh, and you also get like points in perception, whatever perception is. Points in perception. Where is the perception? Is here in the mental stuff. So measures your character's awareness of their surroundings. Perception is necessary for ranged combat and inspection feats. So ranged combat, very cool. So upgrade Auspex and deal more ranged damage. That's kind of interesting. And yeah, inspection makes you see things. So certain items in the game are highlighted if you have inspection. If not, the item is still there. You can still pick it up, but you have to look at it, look for it by hand. And of course, the special one, Thaumaturgy. Oh, and they also have Dominate, which is very interesting. So they do share one of the special abilities with the Ventrue. So it might be that Presence is the actual Ventrue ability, like the debuff aura, and Dominate in this case is just some kind of yeah, mind control thing. So that's that. And then of course, yeah, Thaumaturgy, Blood Strike. A projectile will strike your victim. You can kind of do that, very interesting. And Bloodshot will return with stolen blood from your victim. That's actually kind of cool. So you don't need to worry too much about using up your blood. Enemies near your character will become violently ill, vomiting blood, damaging to both normal and supernatural foes. And then a shield of blood envelops the Tremere, absorbing a portion of all damage inflicted. Blood shield will dissipate only after it has absorbed enough damage, which is very cool. So get your blood shield up and running. I think this is a Masquerade problem all the time, because you turn into like a red sludge thing. Whatever. So it will only dissipate if there's enough damage absorbed, which is cool. Activate it and be happy. And then we have the blood theft. The blood of the target will be drained and sent to you. Then the victim dies. The question is, how much blood do you actually get? Do you get more than 3 so that you can yeah, use this to stay on the same blood level or even regain it? That's pretty sweet. And blood boil, of course, a more aggressive version. The target's blood is instantly heated to boiling, causing him to explode violently. Others nearby take blast damage from the explosion. This is nice AoE. So then there was that. We got Tremere, Ventrue. There's Toreador, which also have very cool abilities. In this case, they also have presence. So looks like the Ventrue don't seem to have any special disciplines, only for themselves. That's weird. So wait a minute. Let's just see. Because Ventrue are kind of interesting. Fortitude. But Fortitude also is a standard kind of thing. Upgrades your defense. I've seen others with Fortitude as well, especially Brujah, I believe. So, that was it, Toreador. So, they have Auspex, very cool thing. Enhances your mental faculties and allows you to perceive the auras around it. Yeah, we got this stuff. So, you can see through walls, and there's no special version in here for these dudes. So, character moves with a level 1 speed enhancement. This is a very cool thing. Celerity makes you move faster. The game itself doesn't really make you run faster. It makes everything else slower. But the gist of it is that after a certain amount of speed, it breaks Masquerade. So let's see. Using them in safe areas is considered violation of Masquerade. Yeah. All but the first level of celerity are obvious supernatural acts. The thing is, you do not need any boosts to your vampire in normal safe areas or whatever. Everything unsafe is basically free game, so you don't need to worry about Masquerade violations so much. Just don't use the abilities. That's the only thing. Alright. The problem with this, though, is that it only lasts for 14 seconds all the time. It just gives you more speed. I don't know if... I mean, you can move a little faster, yes, but does it mean that you deal more damage? That would be kind of interesting, but I don't think so. Anyway, and also we have like the debuff aura. That's a kind of cool one. So, wait a minute. Okay, so this one is white. This one is more orangey looking. There's of course the red rose. And of course we also got the Nosferatu, the sad ones. Kind of funny that they have that mask there. So, and there's also animalism. This is a discipline that they do share with the Gangrel. It's not a transformation. It's more like controlling nature, because they are mostly next to rats and whatnot. So, first, these are actually, animalism is a very cool ability. It's one of the flashy things, like similar to thaumaturgy. It's a special flashy discipline, whatever you call it. That only they can use here. Like Gangrels have also the other one that turns them into like a huge bat thingy, huge monster. But it's only 3 of them actually have really cool really cool abilities. Whatever. So let's see. Animalism. Blood ravens incapacitate the victim for about 10 seconds. Any action taken against the victim will disperse the flock and end the effect prematurely. 10 seconds isn't that long, but it might be enough to either get close to them or do other things. So that's a very interesting thing. Of course, it uses up blood. Next one is burrowing beetles. A bone-crunching beetle flies to the victim, causing damage as it burrows deep into their body. There's also okay, let's just get through this real quick. A spectral wolf materializes, attacking the target, and then returns to the ether. That's a very cool ability. We're going to see that one in the beginning scenes, because it's just so good. One of my favorite ones, because it just looks so sweet. So, what's the other one? The bloodsucker communion. Ghostly bats attack the target, draining its blood, then deliver the blood to their master. Kind of like thaumaturgy stuff, but for animalism. So, pestilence. Insect swarms descend upon all victims in an area, devouring their flesh and possibly killing them. Possibly. So, what do we have here? The effects of animalism are obviously supernatural and carry the risk of violating the Masquerade if they are used in safe areas. I mean, a ghost, a spectral wolf is kind of supernatural, yes. But beetles, insects, ravens, yeah, and bats. Okay, ghostly bats maybe, but insects and ravens. This is not okay. This is called night wisp raven, so it might be a different kind of raven. A wisp, a ghost again. So anyway, and then we also have obfuscate, which is a sneaky ability. So first one is hide invisibly as long as you remain motionless. It's kind of this is like one of the descriptions. What was it? I'm invisible as long as no one looks at me, kind of thing. This is so stupid. Alright, so yeah, invisibility as long as you remain motionless. If you move or take actions, you will become visible and the timer will run. Costs 1 blood per activation, lasts 18 seconds per activation. If you move or take any action, you will become visible and the timer will run. The thing is, the timer will run if I'm not invisible, which is weird. So let's figure out how the timer actually starts running. If you remain motionless, the timer will not run and obfuscate can be maintained indefinitely. Oh, this is good if you have no time-sensitive missions and just want to get out of the enemy way. You can stay invisible and perform stealth kills using the attack key. Very useful. So let's see. You may move invisibly while crouched. You will be revealed if you touch anyone or containers, or if you interact with the environment. So the touching anything might be a source of a problem, because we do not know when we get too close, or when we are too close, when we actually touch things. We may just bump into it by accident, and then all of a sudden, oh, they see me, which is definitely something to watch out for. Anyway, if you interact with the environment, if you remain motionless, the time will not run, and obfuscate can be made pretty much forever. So once we start moving, no. If we are motionless, then the timer is just stopped. So we just activate it and try to keep it up as long as possible. I don't know if we can actually get back into obfuscate after we have done an action or not. You will be revealed. But it doesn't... I don't know if the effect ends prematurely. You may move invisibly while crouched. Be careful to not touch anyone or containers, or you will be revealed. Wait, what? You may move invisibly while crouched. Be careful to not touch anyone or containers, or you will be revealed. You will be revealed if you touch anyone or containers, or if you interact with the environment. So this one, the hidden killer thing, makes you interact with the environment. Additionally, any melee or unarmed attack that breaks obfuscate will gain 50% bonus damage, which is very nice. So a normal attack, but it's not a kill ability. Very interesting. So stealth kills are considered like a little different because they immediately kill the target. Costs 1 blood per activation. Always 1 blood. That's very kind of cool. So you may move freely while invisible. You will be revealed if you interact with the environment. Or if you touch anyone or containers. Again. You will wait. Be careful not to touch anyone or containers. This one doesn't say anything about the environment, and this one all of a sudden does. That's strange. Whatever. Obfuscate 4 will deal double damage once we get out of this thing, and you may move. Level number 5 now. You may move freely and interact with the environment. You will be revealed if you touch anyone. You may perform stealth kills while staying invisible with your use key, and additionally any melee or unarmed attacks that break Obfuscate 5 will deal triple damage. The thing is, if we have stealth kills, do we still stay in stealth mode or not? That's the question here. While staying invisible. There we go. So number 5 is a must, pretty much. Somehow we need discipline 5. Where do we get the discipline thingies now that we can get all of that done? But anyway, and potence. Potence is basically like fortitude, but slightly different. Adds 1 point of supernatural strength to all melee and brawl attacks. Extra damage caused by this supernatural strength cannot be defended against. Okay, so it's basically a extra damage. Very interesting indeed. But what does it benefit? Because it's melee and a brawl, that means nothing ranged combat gets better. Okay. Or specs is something that improves ranged combat. Potence, not so much. Alright. So, and for the most part, the abilities only last for 26 seconds. Or like half a minute, if anything. Or are either instant. So, what else we got? 5 points of supernatural strength. So in this case, the bonus points just get up a little bit. The thing is, at the beginning of the game, a few points might be very important. But the further you proceed in the game, maybe you have already leveled up character. So 1 or 5 points on top of your already leveled up points may not be as much. So that's the question, what you go for. So that's what I was that. Gangrel, of course, the animalism again with the whole insects and ravens and ghost bats. Fortitude, same thing, something that makes you soak up a little more damage. And the protean thing is the turning into a huge bat. You gain heat vision, also very kind of cool, with a +1 bonus to wits, or costs 1 blood per activation. These effects are readily apparent and supernatural in nature. By the way, by embracing the beast within, the vampire gains bestial forms and abilities. Okay, gleam of red eyes. I mean, red eyes are a bit special. Protein should therefore be used with discretion in safe areas, lest you risk violating the Masquerade. Okay, so red eyes are already a violation. I mean, you could say that's context or something. You gain heat vision with a +1 bonus to wits, yes. And wits are these things, and they... Okay, so wits increase your combat defense. That's very important. So, anyway. Next one. Feral claws. Obvious. Your hands change to deadly claws that deal aggravated damage. Also, there are different types of damages in here. Aggravated, in this case, is one of the special ones. Your ability to shrug off damage, in this case, it's a defense version here, to your ability to shrug off damage from claws, fangs, fire, and electricity. So, special, highly dangerous damage. Aggravated damage is definitely serious. Vampires can defend against claws and fangs with their combat defense feat, but are helpless against fire and electricity. Aggravated damage can be soaked through supernatural means only. And then, of course, we have lethal stuff. Ability to shrug off damage from bladed melee weapons. While vampires may defend against lethal damage with their defense feat, they are nearly helpless once the blow is landed. Clothing and body armor add to your lethal soak feat. So, everything bladed. Defend against lethal damage with their defense feat. So, defense feat. Where's the defense? Defense feat. I don't see any defense feat here at all. I mean, we have dodge, which is something... combat defense, that's what it's called. Matches your character's ability to avoid taking damage of all types in combat. Very interesting. The wits attribute and the dodge ability both contribute to the combat feat. Yeah. Anyway, I was at Protean with the wolves, with the claws. Now we have the will of the wolf. You gain greater bestial prowess, +2 to stamina, costs 1 blood per activation. Very interesting, and lasts 25 seconds per activation overall. Very good actually with the whole stamina business. Stamina was again a bashing thing, so makes you more resistant to damage. And another one, Hunter of the Night. You gain more animalistic power, 4 bonus to strength, and 1 point to activate, of course. Lasts 25 seconds per activation. 5 bonus to strength. That is a lot. And every time, by the way, you increase one of these things, you activate increase one of these by 1. So it's a 1-to-1 relation. That's actually pretty neat. So let's see. You assume a war form with increased brawl damage. Costs 1 blood per activation. So this is your end game thing, but you do not know what this thing actually does, other than giving you a special kind of form. Maybe it increases your stats even more so, but I don't know. Nothing in here says anything about it being better. And then of course, the Brujah. Brujah are passionate. Oh yeah, we got this. Hot-blooded. And now the disciplines of the Brujah. They have celerity, like the Toreador, which makes them faster. Also breaks the Masquerade once you use it. Potence is supernatural strength, like the who else used Potence again? I think it was Nosferatu also. Yeah, these two are the only ones with Potence, is it? Yeah. And then there is Presence, which makes the enemy a little weaker. Very interesting. So how many times do we have Presence in here? I think I've seen Presence 3 times. So Presence from the Toreador. Yeah, and Celerity. And they have all specs, so they can see things. So you could say that Toreador are Brujah, but for range damage. Kind of. Yeah, because of the way it just scares. Toreador and Brujah, 2 sides of the same coin. Then you have how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's an uneven amount. So you could say that 2 of them are very close to one another, and then there's others that are not. So thaumaturgy is a special kind of ability, like animalism, but animalism does exist twice in here with Gangrels and Nosferatu. Very interesting. And then the Nosferatu don't have anything for themselves pretty much, because they do have Obfuscate, which is also one of the Malkavian things. So, Malkavians are known as lunatics because of their ability to hear voices of insight and subjects others to their insanity through their discipline. Dementation. The world appears much different to the Malkavian than it does to the sane clans, though the extent of a Malkavian's madness depends on the individual, a blessing and a curse. A Malkavian's insanity will help or hinder them, depending on how much they struggle against their nature. Malkavians start with a +2 bonus to inspection. This is a very interesting thing that you already start with this stuff, and of course we can change it a little bit with the history kind of thing. The question is just, what do we go for? You gain a bonus to scholarship and earning experience and whatever. I don't know if I would actually change anything in here. You can maintain all specs for longer. Each level officer has a shorter duration. Yeah, Doomseer. There's this. The descriptions in here are always very funny. The paralyzing fear of eternal death has an iron grip on you. Doom is just around the corner for you. For everyone, you just know it, and you lack faith in your vampiric abilities. What's the use anyway? And in this case, Doom stuff means that your obfuscation, your invisibility, doesn't run as well, but you see things all over the place. That's why Auspex is there. Cut rate par decline, that's also something. So the priority order of your attributes to physical, mental, and social. And in this case, it just helps you with getting the points allocated here a little differently. So, but anyway, let's just look at the discipline. Oh, by the way, this one comes in a male and a female version too. Yeah, look at that. And we got jiggle physics. This is actually kind of cool. So, where was I? I'm gonna go for this dude though. And only problem is, yeah, nipple piercings. Only one of them is pierced, right? It's just so strange. So, let's see. Yeah, we got all specs again. Makes us see things. Dementation is the special ability for the Malkavian. And of course, Obfuscate makes us sneaky. So, the Obfuscation ability is the thing that I kind of like. Dementation is basically mind control, but a little different. And Auspex again makes us see things. It's a useful one for range, but it doesn't help us survive. I mean, if I were to just use guns a bit more, I think, yeah, I have to have an open approach to that, and then everything would be okay. So let's see what we have here. There are no physical. Why do we have no physical traits in here? Usually there should be like. That is weird. Really weird. Let's see. Naughty Weatherman. Swap the priority order of your attributes to social, mental, and physical. Attributes: social, mental, and physical. So, social gets 2, 1, and physical 0. And if we don't have that, then it's standard 1, 1 to social, 2 for mental, right? And physical 0. It's very interesting that we can only put the points in there a little bit. But anyway, Dementation. So, it starts with Hysteria. Oh, the unique legacy of the Malkavian clan. Dementation channels madness and pours it into the minds of those around you. Dementation effects are covert actions. They cannot be traced back to you and carry no risk of violating the Masquerade, which is very useful. So, I also kind of like the mind control stuff. It's kind of strange when it happens, but it's the people that are crazy, not you. So, Hysteria. The victim's emotions intensify until it becomes temporarily incapacitated by either hysterical laughter or compulsive crying for about 15 seconds. Taking any action against the victim might end the effect prematurely. So, mass hallucination. Anyone near you suffers mild hallucinations and a -2 penalty to firearms, melee, brawl, and combat defense, and feeding defense for about 20 seconds. So it makes it easier to feed on the enemy as well. And because they have, what do they have? Penalty to firearms, combat. So their damage output gets lower, and their combat defense also gets lower, which means fighting with mass hallucination active is a very cool thing. So the victim is, what is this one? Vision of death. The victim is shown his greatest waking nightmares, eventually causing a heart attack. May have a lesser effect on supernaturals. So this is basically a kill button. The vision of death is similar to the... didn't actually go through the mind control stuff, right? I think I didn't. So yeah, dominate. So we have trance. That's also another kind of thing here. Kind of the same. Makes them fall into a sleep, like dementation, just a different word for it. Brain wipe. All enemies within a small radius will think you've disappeared. This is actually a cool thing, especially if you want to sneak around. And then you have sleep. The target will fall asleep for about 20 seconds and longer and become completely incapacitated. So, whatever the target momentarily sinks into taking any action. Okay. I don't know what the difference between sleep and trance is, other than one is 20 seconds, one is 10 seconds. And possession. The victim will desperately attack anyone who means you harm for about 30 seconds, until it eventually dies of cardiac arrest. Kind of like that. May have a lesser effect on supernaturals. So the possession thing is actually a very cool ability, because it turns an enemy into an ally for a little bit of time. So, and of course the mass suicide, and the target and any others nearby all suffer a fatal episode. May have a lesser effect on supernaturals. So that's that. But anyway, let's just quickly go back to Malkavian. So, where was I? Mass hallucination, yes. It's basically debuff for everyone for 20 seconds, kind of like presence. And vision of death. The victim is shown his greatest waking nightmares, eventually causing a heart attack. The thing is, yeah, simple kill button. Doesn't really sound that special, but look at that. This one costs 1 blood, 2 blood, 2 blood, then 3 and 4. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. What is it? Obfuscation is only 1 point all the time, so costs 1. Yeah, costs always 1. Same for wits. Wait, wits and 3 points to perception. And wits are combat, defense, and hacking. Interesting. What about the perception thing? Range combat, yeah. Just kind of funny. Whatever. What was I? Vision of thing. And Berserk. The victim goes insane. Attacks at random, not just the enemy, but could also be you. Attacks at random for 30 seconds and then drops dead. May have a lesser effect on supernaturals. It's kind of like the mind control thing, but a little different. And Bedlam. The target and any others near him all randomly suffer one of the first 4 levels of dementation. So this is all of it just jumbled around. So if you want, let's say, want to have a certain chance for Berserk, Vision of Death, Mass Hallucination, or Hysteria to happen to, how many targets is it? Any others near him. I don't know the radius of it. How many people we can actually target with this. But this is an interesting AoE. If you were, let's say, using more than 4 blood in order to manage an enemy group, then definitely go for this one and hope for a lucky outcome. It's a little weird though. Definitely a little weird. So, let's see. What are we gonna do though? I want to focus mostly on the covered stuff so that we can actually get some places with the whole lockpicking thing. Haggle is a very cool thing. And there's also certain public things or persuasion or whatever stuff that's somewhat useful in order to get the story forward. We don't need Intimidate or Seduction that much, I would say. It's a useful ability, yes, but Persuasion might be the thing to go for. And of course, because we are Malkavian, we have a set different approach to things. So that may also be a very special one. Maybe we don't even need it. But anyway, Haggle is a very cool thing. So what do we need for it? Manipulation and finance, obviously. So what's manipulation? Really? Regardless of their dementia, or perhaps because of it, Malkavians are fascinating conversationalists. Social attributes. Okay. What about this one? Malkavians are bastions of mental fortitude. Perhaps simply because no one else wants in their head. So, what do we have here? Ranged combat bonus, inspection bonus, research bonus, and intimidation bonus. Interesting that intelligence is used for intimidation. Strength strength is just combat related. Dexterity is a lockpicking, sneaking thing. And stamina is a defense attribute. Then, of course, we have charisma for persuasion. Only that. Manipulation is the Haggle thing, and appearance is the seduction. So you can kind of choose how you want to handle them. Do you want to bribe them? Do you want to persuade them with charisma, or do you want to seduce them? So then, of course, we have these things here: perception, again, range combat bonus, research, intimidation with intelligence, and combat defense with the wits. Yeah, what's the thing that I need? A little bit of dexterity might be good. Lockpicking. And security. Okay, there are also abilities down here that could increase things. The fact that you have to add both of those together, that's the weird one. And also, yeah, I want to level up Obfuscate a little bit, I would say. And near you suffers mild hallucinations. I mean, the level 2 of Dementia is actually very nice because anyone near you, 20 seconds. So there's also some kind of aura that you can use. That's actually, that might be a really, really, really cool thing. Because Dementation affects everyone. We don't need to turn them or do other special things to them. We just need this mass hallucination aura for 20 whatever seconds and we would be alright. That's a really cool thing. Only other problem is the blood cost. What do we do with that? I mean, mass hallucination is a cool thing. Obfuscate, whatever, also kind of nice. I'm gonna level this one up afterwards, but first let's just get ourselves Dementation level 2 for the mass hallucination. So, let's see. There are also talents. Natural talents of a Malkavian are inhibited, but only by the many voices in their heads. Sure. So we got Brawl, unarmed combat bonus, but we don't do unarmed combat that much. The ability to fight barehanded. Brawl is important for unarmed combat, which also makes it easier to feed on unwilling. Feeding on unwilling. That's a very important thing. Because you can use the feed button to trigger that interaction, but if beforehand there was no agreement that happened, if you didn't seduce them or whatever, then they wring their way out of it, and so you can't actually do the feeding properly. So you need a little bit of brawl if you want to do this in combat, let's say. Then we have dodge, of course, combat defense. Determines your character's ability to avoid damage in all forms of combat. Dodge increases the combat defense. So the thing is, these points here, it's just bonus points, but there's nothing special happening if you have, like, let's say 5 of them compared to 4. So we got this, and intimidation. Of course, intimidation is a character's ability to instill fear and force cooperation in others. Intimidation naturally increases your intimidate feat. Measures your character's ability to conceal their motives and deceive others. Subterfuge is needed for the feat of seduction. It's interesting that subterfuge is used for seduction. Can't you be honest with seduction a little bit instead of subterfuging your way through this? Very weird. So, we do not want to intimidate. We also don't want to seduce them. Dodging is the only combat-related thing that I'm mostly interested in, because this helps us not die. So, we're going to go for that one here. Then, of course, we have abilities. Of course, obviously, firearms. Determines how well your character aims and causes damage with guns of all types. Firearms is an indispensable part of the ranged combat feat. And there's only ranged combat in here. Then we have, this bonus stuff +2 in inspection comes because we are a Malkavian, so helps us a little bit. Whatever. Melee. Again, melee damage bonus. Your character's ability to fight in close combat with handheld weapons such as knives and swords. Melee increases your melee combat feat. And then we have security. Displays your character's knowledge of how locks and security systems work. Security is needed for the lock picking feat. So this is something very interesting. Maybe I should get that. But I'm not sure if I should either get stealth or melee. Depending on what kind of weapons we should focus on. Do we shoot them? Do we hit them? What do we do with them? Or do we just sneak around and don't deal any damage whatsoever? But the question is then again, how do we get experience? Oh yeah, how do we get an experience? This is one of the questions I don't quite remember about that game. If you kill an enemy, do they give you experience? Or is the mission finish, however you do, the thing that gives you experience? Because that is more important. So what else we got? Stealth. Measures your character's ability to move silently and avoid being detected. Stealth is a crucial component of sneaking feat. With a wide opening mind and a lack of inhibitions, Malkavians are constantly learning, aren't they? So, lockpicking is good and stealth is also good. The thing is, obfuscate makes us not visible, but we could still be heard. Powerful supernatural abilities. Each clan specializes in its own unique set, except for the common ones, blood heal to reconstitute their broken body, and blood buff to enhance their physical attributes. Yeah, there's also blood buff and blood heal. I don't know if blood heal was in the original version of it, but the unofficial patch definitely got that stuff. And blood buff is something useful in combat too. Only problem, it uses blood. So, which one do we go for? We have 2 buttons. Do I want to have stealth and not get detected? Or do I want melee and get myself into trouble? Or do I want security stuff and get the lockpicking? I mean, lockpicking would mean that I need dexterity. Yeah, strength, dexterity, stamina. Lockpicking and sneaking. And stamina gives me bashing resistance. Oh, yeah, I can't do anything in physical anyway, so that's that. Not quite sure what to do with those 2 points, but okay. What else we got here? Knowledge. The twisted mind of the Malkavian grants you insight. If only others could communicate with them. So, we got computers, a little bit of hacking stuff. We got finance with a hackling. This is actually a very cool one too. And investigation. We don't need more of that, I would say. To notice minute or hidden details. Investigation will increase your inspect feat. Yes. So, and scholarship. Research and persuasion. There you go. Interesting that it unlocks research there too. So, do we need hacking? I mean, haggle is a cool thing, but I think I'm going to go for scholarship for this one. Your character's ability to gather information, debate, and learn new skills. Scholarship will increase your research and persuasion feats and is required to identify and activate rare artifacts. There are even more additional things in here. Okay, rare artifacts. Why does it say that at the beginning? So, we got scholarship over here and this one over there, and we already are persuasion free. Wait, we have bam. Just max the whole thing out. I don't know if hacking, how many points in hacking we need. I would say we just level up a little bit and write down every area that has a computer for us to hack or something like that. And then we just come back to the place again. Or does it get that stuff? So, persuasion and research. Then I need... What else do I need? Where's the other persuasion? Charisma. Does it do anything else? No. Manipulation would actually be a good one. The thing about seduction is also because you may need it for feeding purposes. That might also be the reason why subterfuge is necessary, because we have Empire. We don't really seduce for seduction's sake. We are like trying to get their blood. So this is why you need subterfuge. The whole lying part about it. So the appearance attribute of subterfuge ability. So let's see, what's the other one? This one improves research yet again. Maybe I don't need that. Hacking and combat defense. Yeah, I'm gonna go for combat defense on this one. We try to not die here. The thing is wits, increased hacking, so that's nice. So we don't need computer. We just need wits. So if you have something in here that gives you 2 upgrades instead of just 1, like hacking, for example. Like this is just hacking, this is just haggling or whatnot. Yeah, you should definitely focus on that. Like this one, for example. Charisma is for persuasion. Oh, no, all of those are just 1. This one is 2, 2, and 2. This one is 2, 2, and 1. But yeah, it's defense. So, okay, what to do? I mean, lockpicking opens up areas for us. What about this one? Seduction, haggling, and persuasion. I'm gonna go for a little bit of lockpicking. I want to lockpick everything. So firearms might actually be better than that though, but yeah. Okay, so what else we got? Manipulation and persuasion. Haggling a little bit might be good. But do we need a lot of charisma? I mean, if I go for 1 more point in scholarship, everything would be good. The question is, where do we get the points from? Do you get abilities or do you get attributes? Question. Going for manipulation might be a good one. Okay, right now I try to min-max it for a certain kind of playstyle. Also, you could try to put some points in humanity and get yourself some more points up there. But right now it's not working. You need experience points for that. So the intro is something that we do not skip. Right now, let's just get a nice name in there. There you go. Wonderful. And we can continue with the intro, the proper one, once we have finished the character setup in the next episode. So like and subscribe, of course, as usual. And ta-ta.